Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the DSGCP AI Sprint 7. It's a session that I promise will be packed with a lot of use cases. I'm personally very excited to showcase to all of you what I've seen both at DSGCP and at Killer. The title for the session is AI that really does the work. We finally are at a watershed moment when AI agents are actually getting real work done. And obviously, Claude with Claude Cowork and Code has led the way. So much that, someone, I mentioned it on LinkedIn, said that in the future, humans could probably, be calling the period before Claude Cowork as BC. So I'll keep my introduction session very short and want to give most of the time to the demos. So just a quick recap. As everyone knows, we started Project MAD around 1.5 years back. It's our project to dominate the AI era, which is Project Mission AI Domination. And I just wanted to remind you all with the three things, I left you with back then. First is that, being AI first is not a strategy, but a mindset. And the three simple rules to remember was A, one should at least strive for a 3x increase in productivity, spend at least 2 hours minimum with AI tools every day. And it all starts with founders. I've seen it through the last 2 odd years, including Killer. I know how founder first, AI first rather that Hitesh is. Founders ought to be the champions to get things done. So with that, today, we're launching Project MAD 2.0. We are calling it the Project MADMAX Edition 2026. This is really all about agents. The visual here sort of distills the parallels between industrial revolution and AI revolution. The industrial revolution really led to automation of most of physical work. And the AI revolution is all set to automate anything procedural. You might wonder what procedural work means. The way I think about it is any work that is process based, that is rule based, is procedural work. Any work that doesn't need judgment or lateral thinking is procedural work. I can think of like 50% of my time being spent on procedural work, and we are systematically trying to get AI to automate all of that. So that's like the mental model I want to leave you all with. So this title is very important. So we have two presenters with us this session, Hitesh and Urmit. Both of them are not computer science engineers. Urmit is not even an engineer. Hitesh is, but doesn't know code. Telling everyone that, the two presenters and me included in this session, which is Urmit, Hitesh, and I, were not experts in coding. I have a computer science engineering degree, but I last coded more than 20 years back. Hitesh is not a computer science engineer, and Urm's not even an engineer. So you don't need any technical education to build AI agents. It's only common sense and just playing around with the tools, you should be able to figure it out. I think the one thought I want to leave with every one of you is, if there's anything procedural in what you're doing on a daily basis at work, even personally, it can be and has to be automated. It will get automated by AI agents. The more you start using them, you'll appreciate it better, and you will see it in the use cases. Seeing is believing. And then three things I wanted to leave the founders with is first, it's also about getting the team enthused about agentic AI. The first is like strictly enforce this 3x productivity rule. I think hiring has to be selective. If anyone comes with headcount addition requirements, ask them if they're using AI a couple of hours every day. Have they been able to create AI agents, etc.? I think that is the easiest hack to just improve org productivity and getting started on agentic AI. The third is around having strict KRAs. Like at DSGCP, we have a KRA of developing one agentic use case every 2 weeks. It's possible. We're actually, operating at a speed better than that. So with that, let me hand it over to Urmit to start with the product demos, etc.
Thanks, Ari. Hi, guys. I've met some of you. I probably would have met some of you. So I'm Urmit. I lead the growth and AI and the growth initiatives at DSGCP. So the idea to cover is the from chat to agent, right? So till now we have been chatting with ChatGPT, Claude, etc. But agentic AI changes it completely because it completes the task end to end. So a very different world. So instead of like giving the theorized version of this, let me give the demos and take you through it. So there are three layers to the agentic ecosystem. One is the Claude Cowork, then a bit upgraded is the Claude Code, and the third layer is the custom system, right? Claude Cowork is the simplest of it. Probably it all starts from there. Then you have Claude Code. Again, this has been deemed as a tool for developers, but I believe everyone can use it. It's just got a reputation as such. And then you have custom system. Once you have mastered Claude Code, you can use models from Gemini, Perplexity, or any other ecosystem or any other providers as well. So this is where the real chunk of the value lies. So let me just take you through it. On Claude Cowork, right? If you look at the way Claude Cowork works, right? So say I want to figure out the financial metrics for Zivame from private circle. I'll just give it the prompt saying that find out Zivame's numbers using the private circles. It uses a browser. So that is the browser agent and gives me the updated data in the format that I want because I had defined the format over here as well. So again, I had defined the prompt. It gave me the output and it did all the work over there, right? You can see the way the agent worked through in the Claude for Chrome. Now, this is one of the examples, but the main sense over here is that it can use browser agent. The second example that I would want to give you, and this is a bit more complicated, is the brand flywheel. So there is this process that we follow at DSGCP. We usually look for flywheels in the brands. For me, flywheel is whether the brand is pushed by Amazon SEO and are appearing for generic or semi-generic keywords. Now, this is a very complicated process to be checked, and you have to check the seller central data for this, right? So I had figured out a few names using the meta ads, around 1,000 odd names, and I wanted to figure out which of these names have some sort of flywheel. I had to teach Claude on how to look for flywheel, but if you look at the end state, right, after like 15 odd minutes, I got the right set of data on which brands have the flywheel and what is the definition of flywheel over here. So two sorts of flywheel, right? One is the SEO flywheel, other is the meta ads, which is basically saying that the brands are being searched by the brand keywords and it has some sort of flywheel. One more example, which is a bit more marketing related. Say I want to understand how what are the ads that Absolute Pets are using on the meta ads, right? And give the data organized in an organized Excel. If you see this, I've got this data in the Excel. It went through the relevant data using meta ads library and gave me the Excel. I can further work on top of it. But if you look at all these examples, right, it is as easy as ChatGPT. And yeah, I think this is going to be very intuitive. The way to think about this, let me share this screen. Yeah. The way to think about this is that one, it is excellent at ideation and planning, better than probably Claude Code as well. The limitation is that it doesn't have any custom systems like multiple models, or it cannot use multi-model, which is it cannot analyze the data, it cannot analyze the videos as well as Gemini. Probably a new skill set has emerged as well. Instead of just putting out better prompt, the idea is to break down the task into 8 chunks. There are a couple of things that I can show over here. If you look at this chat over here, right, I have something known as plugins or connectors, and there is a connector for meta ads. Basically, this is known as MCP, Model Context Protocol. I can get all the data for meta ads in Claude itself. Similarly, you would have plugins for other apps as well. So the idea is if you become a power user, you can start using plugins, commands, and skills, and you can use scheduling skills for the repetitive tasks. But if I take it a step further, and this is where the real value lies, there is something known as Claude Code. So let me give you an example of this. The way it works is simple. You just have to open the terminal, write Claude, and it works right from there. This is again same as the Claude Cowork, but just that it's in a terminal. Now, preferably used by the developers, but what I've done over here is I've created this meta growth Copilot using Claude Code. So if you look at this, I can type in queries like show me again, this is synthetic data, given that it's a demo brand. Show me data for the last 7 days. And I'm able to get all the data directly fetched from meta ads. Yeah, so this is the first app that I developed using Claude Code, which is Growth Copilot for meta ads. Now, the way it works is there are 4 modules. chat, analytics, report, RC, and creatives. The first module fetches the data directly from the meta ads, and it applies Gemini intelligence on top of it. So it's multimodal in that way. So I'm using Claude Code for coding. Then I'm applying Gemini for figuring out the intelligence. I can ask any sort of question. So we discussed Claude Cowork. I'll just give a repeat of the examples. Again, very intuitive tool to use. You can just ask it for certain tasks. For example, say I want to figure out the numbers for Zivame using private circle, right? I gave it a format as well. And then after 5 or 10 minutes, I should be able to get this sort of data in the format that I want. It uses my Chrome browser. So this is the browser agent. The same thing, I can do it for other tasks as well. So assume that I would want to get data from the Meta Business Manager, or probably get some data from Reddit as well, or I want to do social ORM for Meta, Reddit, etc. The other example is, assume that I want to extract the meta ads for Absolute Pet, and again and want it in an Excel format, and this is the output that I get. And the third task, which is a bit more complicated one, wherein I had to teach it how to look at the flywheel for 1,000 odd brands, right? So flywheel is nothing but they are being pushed by Amazon SEO and are appearing for generic or semi-generic keywords. Now this is a bit complicated because it has to go to Seller Central, check the flywheel for each of the brands along with the generic keywords, update the SFR, which is search frequency rank. So this uses a lot of intelligence, and here I have the output. As what is the type of flywheel, what is the SFR, the strength of the flywheel, etc. compared to the brand, right? Now this is a very intuitive tool, and I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up. Couple of things that I would put out over here is that one, it's excellent tool for ideation and planning. It's even better than Claude Code, which we'll cover. The limitations are you won't be able to implement custom systems like multiple models from Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity, which we'll discuss again, which Claude Code is able to do. A new skill set has emerged, which is breaking down the task into L chunks. Now, there is something known as plugins, commands, and skills in the Claude Cowork. This is for the power users. Basically, nothing but shortcuts for getting the task done. And the way to think about this, right? Can you think of task which requires browser agent or anything that on your computer needs scheduling, or any repetitive task can use scheduling skills. Now, the real value of agentic AI is actually Claude Code. So Claude Code is nothing but it's a terminal. Say I want to, and this is how it works, right? How many files do I? It's a simple chat tool. Files do I have on desktop? So it can operate on your computer. It might look like a bit complicated, but it's not. Would urge you to play around with it. Now, what I've done using Claude Code is I've created this tool known as Growth Copilot for Meta Ads. If you look at this, Meta Copilot is connected to Meta via the API. I can fetch data directly from there. It applies the intelligence of Gemini. So I'm connecting 3 to 4 models over here. It applies the Gemini intelligence over here, and I can get whatever relevant data I would want. Say, show me the data for last 7 days. And then I would want to understand how am I doing compared to last GOY spends for the last 30 days. Whatever sort of data you would want, it can apply the intelligence to it. It even has a hook bank to it. So this is basis whatever problems that I faced in past as a marketeer. Now, there is something known as creative module in this app. Now, this is the issue that I faced a lot, right? On how do I evaluate a certain creative. Say I have number of hooks. How is each hook type performing in terms of hook rate or purchase CVR, etc. And then if I can even figure out by each creative, what is the fatigue, what is the bottleneck, is it the hook, click, or the conversion rate? Can I even refresh and get ideas for the creative? Because this is using the transcript for that specific creative and generating actionable ideas. Now, if you look at the workflow, right, it's saving you probably more than 3-4 hours in a week. This is the exact issue that I used to face, and I wish I had something like this app. So this is one. Yeah, what is working for that ad? What is not working? What are the blockers? What does the transcript says? What are the angle variations? How can you test the plan, etc. So trying this out with a couple of brands at the DSGCP portfolio. The second app that we made internally is a DSGCP Portfolio Analytics. Again, this is a demo account, and we have all the non-DSGCP data, whatever is publicly available. So you can ask for the best in benchmarks CM2 for F&B, and you get data like this. How does Cure Food financials look like? And I get this tabular format. Now, interestingly, if I apply this intelligence, So again, the key takeaway is, can you start applying M intelligence on your first party data, right? So coming back to this is third app. Let me just share this in the chat. Oh, there's no option to share. But okay, this is the third app that I made for Ugao. This took me probably roughly 10 to 12 hours, and I'll just take you through the process because it's super easy. You can speak with the doctor, it will analyze your plant, whether what is the issue. Is it like you're watering it way too much, watering it way too less, or any other millibugs infestation, etc., right? And this is the, again, a very interesting way to think about this. So I started the ideation on Claude Cowork that I want to create an app for Ubao. This is where the ideation took place, and probably went a bit back and forth on this, and it gave me the entire roadmap for the app over here, including the wireframes. So once I had the wireframes and the roadmap, I just plugged in the Claude code and I got the output that I wanted. So Claude Cowork is fantastic for any research purpose, anything that you want to ideate on. Claude Code is the right set of tool for coding it out and using multiple models. So the way to think about this, right, is that first party data equals to your moat. If you can start using Claude Code first party data, you'll get immense value out of it. Second is making the AI understand your business. So if I don't give the context which I've given over here in Growth Copilot, which is the demo brand itself, or I can even give the brand context, it'll not understand the nitty-gritties of this brand per se. Third is where what we have learned is, if you develop a feeling for what's possible, right? So I don't know coding. I wouldn't know how to do the apps or even make this sort of growth copilot per se, right? But once you have intuitive understanding of what's possible, understanding of the different models, where would you use Gemini versus Claude Opus versus ChatGPT 5.2, and a bit of understanding of the APIs, right, and your own first party data, you can just kill it with the sort of applications that you can come out with. Domain expertise is non-negotiable. I wouldn't have been able to come up with this sort of dashboard per se if I wouldn't have worked on these marketing problems, if I wouldn't have worked on the marketing side of things. Few things to check. I'm just leaving this in the presentation over here. Learn how APIs work, learn how to think around the AI models, structuring your data at the back end. If you are able to figure the point number 5, you more or less will be able to develop a feel for what is possible. So I think Hitim has a lot of interesting case studies at their end. So over to you guys.
Yeah, and before just to add to what Urmit said, and hopefully that gives you a sense of how anything procedural can be automated. And just double clicking on, I think what he meant by domain expertise is more around judgment. I think that will still be, with the humans, but anything procedural can be automated. And MIS is a great example. So with that, now on to Killa. Hitesh, first of all, thanks for joining us. And I know he's one founder that shares the same enthusiasm about agentic AI. So Hitesh, I think before we get into the case studies, would just be useful to, if you can give a high level perspective on how you got into agentic AI and how you got the team as excited as you are about it, right? That'll be a great place to start.
Yeah, thank you. So, why did I start using AI? Because I think just as a personality, I don't like doing a lot of work. I try to avoid work, I try to find shortcuts. How can I make work easier is always the goal. And I think with AI, I've come to realize that you are only limited by your imagination now. I have worked in larger organizations where there is a tech team, there is a product team. You think of a feature as a business team, then you go to product, then the product will request a tech team, then weekly calls will happen. You never know when your development will get scheduled. I think AI has been very, especially Claude Cowork that we are using, has been very liberating in that nature. Neither, like you said, neither me nor my small team of 15 people has tech people in it, right? We don't have a tech team. But over the last couple of weeks, and largely over the last 2 weeks, when we have been sort of driving it as a mission of sorts, I am honestly amazed by the level of simplicity this can bring to a business, by the level of clarity it can bring to a business, because now all the data that you want to see is available in front of you, is being analyzed, and interesting inferences are being thrown up. So personally, it has been very exciting. And I think since we are a small team in a small room, so that excitement also translates. What we have done is we have picked up few large areas that we want to play with. We have picked up our operations, B2C operations, as one piece. We want to simplify that to an extent that, like you said, any work that is repetitive or rule based in nature, should not be done manually. We have started making progress over there. We have picked up our quick com operations, data analysis as a project, and we are doing a lot of dashboards there. And we have picked up marketing as a use case to see what can we do. And in all these 3 or 4 places, we have seen like good early traction. Obviously, we are nowhere close to completion. This is all work in progress. I will show you some of that. And yeah, and by the way, also sort of putting it out there, while DSG team, I can see there are 150 sort of attendees over here. While DSG team might have said the session is free, the session is not free. You guys are supposed to go to killer.com, KILRR.com and buy a loot box each. And we are hoping that we get that same value back as you get from us. So Hari, anything?
Yeah, and it works with vegetarian, paneer, etc. as well. Yeah.
Absolutely works with vegetarian. Just don't come back to me saying that put a paneer picture on the packet, but it works.
Cool. So should we start with the creative agent,
Yeah.
like number of agents? As everyone knows, Killer is very content and creative led. It's exciting. The number of AI agents now Hitesh has at his disposal to just build the creative engine. So
Absolutely. So I don't have a presentation. I'll share my screen. I'll show you the stuff we have made and I'll try to take you through it. If you have any questions, please write them and we'll try to answer those. Yeah. So now one of the largest use cases for any D2C company is performance marketing, right? In performance marketing, now when we started using AI, our method of using AI was that, let's say me or my team, they will go there and say, hey, listen, give me a good copy for something like this, right? And then they will give 10 suggestions and we'll write 10 more and then there will be 10 suggestions. And so we'll keep writing 10 more till we get like a really good copy. But the challenge with that approach is that every time you start typing into that box, there is no context that the system has. They don't know what are your constraints in which you sort of operate your marketing, right? So we have attempted to create like a creative engine that knows our constraints, that knows our customers as well as we do, that knows our product as well as we do, that knows our customer personas as well as we do. And then with all that context in place, tries to give us some answers, right? Now, let me show this to you, right? And all of this, by the way, is, I also want to show it to you if you guys are not using it already. This is Claude. This is Claude Cowork. It's a typing based engine. You can just tell it whatever you want. It will do it for you. It can even take control of your browser, go click on pages and like do whatever is needed, right? It's like that one person who will do anything that you want all the time without saying that, hey, listen, I can't do it today because I have to go out in the evening. Now, here is the creative engine. So I started building this by first, I think it's been about 2 days that we have been using this. So here is what it is. Its structure looks like, right? So first I told it that, hey, listen, this is my website URL. Go check out my website. It went and built some context about my products. Then I asked it that, do you want to ask me any more questions about my product? It gave me a bunch of questions. I answered them. Then I told it, Acha, listen, now help me understand what my possible personas are, right? And here is what it created for me. So it creates these. So when you ask,
you might want to zoom in, Hitesh, just to highlight you.
So whenever you like ask it to do anything, it generally ends up creating this. One second. Generally ends up creating this .md file. It's a notepad file. But because Claude is willing to do whatever you ask it, you just tell it as a listen, give me an Excel file for this. It will give you an Excel file for this. That's what I did. Now here is what my Excel file now looks like. Let me try this. So I don't know if all of you know what we do. Killer is basically a marination masala, a chicken masala with which you can make chicken. So it gave me these, personas, right? It said that, and these are mostly bang on, right? I mean, I didn't have to like tell it, ki, nahi, listen, this is not important. So it told me that, there is one health conscious eater. There is a gym bro who's like probably consuming protein every day. There is a busy professional who gets home at 8 p.m. and doesn't want to spend 45 minutes in the kitchen. So it basically found out these 5 personas, 6 personas for me from whatever knowledge it had. It then created this whole matrix and I'll show it to you. So here it's telling me, like usually we do in marketing, that we find out which stage a customer is in, whether he's unaware of the problem, whether he's solution aware or he's product aware. So different stages require different messaging. I'll skip this one. And finally, it helped me create this. And I've tried creating this multiple times with my team also. And I'll show you the amount of information it's given me. So
and it'll help to also contrast it with it takes to do with your team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for example, for each persona, right? So let's say health conscious eater. In each stage, so let's say it's given me about 15 hooks for each persona. So let me just take you through, let's say, something randomly, let's say her. Let's look at the unaware stages. So, okay, here is a gym bro. Now, all of this might not be relevant. So he's saying someone who's a gym bro or who's going to the gym and is in the, let's say, this problem aware stage. This seems simpler. This person knows that maintaining a diet is a problem. So they are already aware of this issue and probably are trying to solve it, right? So now it says that this person is right now in a place where this person thinks bland meals means cravings. Cravings mean cheat meals mean guilt, and guilt means extra cardio. There has to be a way to break the cycle. Now this is pretty much bang on. Now then it gives me 5 hooks for, let's say if I was to do an ad for this person, it gives me these hooks. The cheat meal isn't the problem. The 6 boring meals before it are. Consistency breaks at the dinner table, not at the gym. So these are like really good copies to, I mean, these are, see what happens with creativity, sometimes you don't know. What this does is opens up your mind, right? And look at the amount of content it has given me. It has given me about 100 rows of content and 5 hooks per row, about 500 hooks this has created for me. If I was to do this with my team on a whiteboard and we are constantly brainstorming, this is at least about 4 or 5 people in a room for about a week's time. This is that much amount of work, right? Now, I haven't read through all of this, but I'll tell you the process, right? So we first created this persona sheet. Then I told it, Acha, listen, now you need to understand. So persona is done. Now try and understand. I have some creatives that have already done really well for me in past, right? What we call in performance as winner creatives. I said, listen, I'm going to give you all my winner creatives here. And I put all my winner creatives over here. Let's say this one ad would have done really well for us, right? Because of the messaging or the imagery or whatever. I said, now beat those creatives and do a creative analysis why they have worked, right? So, and I was genuinely amazed by the outcomes it created, right? So, for example, it did this, best practices analysis, creative, and this is all doing on its own, right? We are not telling it. We are not teaching. We are just giving an input. Say, listen, these are the images. Now go figure out. I'll show this to you, right? So creative analysis. Now, even the best of creative people can't do this analysis, what this is done, right? So it's saying that, I don't know, these are too big. Let me just start, see if something interesting is there. Okay, so it's saying design, as I zoom it a bit, right? So it's saying, let's say, for example, on the design, what it has figured is that layout. Oh, split screen composition, like something's on the, so it's picked up every creative and it's broken it down. The hand holding the yellow killer packet is the only element that breaks the frame between left and right, creating a visual bridge. The hand also adds a human scale and suggests this answer is your grab, right? I mean, these are actually things that we do when we are making creatives, right? I mean, if there are a lot of performance people on this call, right? Human element dalna chahte ho just for the creative to look more relatable, right? Now, this system has figured on its own that this is what needs to be done. So this was my second step, that listen, you've understood my product, you made my personas, you take my creatives, learn from those creatives, and now let's move forward. Now, what we did next was we created these multiple agents for multiple different purposes. But I'll just show you what it does for me now. So I did a run just before this call because these are slightly long runs. So now at the press of a button, I press a button. Here is what my flow now looks like, right? So now it's asking me, Acha Hitesh, you want ideas on your tikka masalas, your gravy masalas, or on both? So I say, Acha, give me ideas on tikka masalas. Then it's asking me, Acha, which persona do you want me to think about? I tell it, Acha, think about the gym bro over here, right? Now, after this, what happens? This system resides on my laptop right now. So it's on my machine. It has taken a API. So from here, it does a API call to Claude. It's not using the Claude on my machine. It's sending an API call to Claude, wherein the agent is sending all my rules, all my learnings, all my constraints. It's sending to Claude and coming back with ideas. It's giving me ideas in this form. I'll show it to you. So जैसे अभी मैंने किया था, so okay, here is output folder. So this is, as you can see, this is 26 Feb 3:30 p.m. This is what I did just before the call. It created this for me. So it gives me this Excel sheet. I'll open this Excel sheet now. Now it gives me a bunch of ideas, right? So it says, okay, so what all it's giving me, it's saying, okay, this was the gym bro. The copy, let's look at, it gives some bekar copies also, but it's also giving good copies. So for example, let's look at this one, right? It says, boring chicken is killing your gales. And it's giving me a visual direction of how to sort of approach this idea. I'll show you, so what we do next. So Now I have the ability now over here to say, Acha, I didn't like the idea, so I can mark it as no. So like for example, here I said, no, listen, I don't like this idea. I mark no, 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 and I save the Excel and I close the Excel, right? Now after this, I tell the system, ki, okay, chalo, main ideas search kar liye hain. Now here is what it does, right? So here is the copy review. Like you can see, it's given me all the copies. At this point, I tell it, listen, I've saved my edits. Now reload and give me some image ideas for these copies, right? Now from here, it triggers a call to Nano Banana. Again, that is an API that we have integrated here, right? So now imagine there is a Claude call going, there is a Nano Banana call going, and now it gives Nano Banana a proper, whatever, like that prompt with our constraints. By the way, I have also given it my pack images. I have saved those pack images here. I have saved a lot of chicken images here for it to use to give us referencing. And here is what it produced for me. It gives me a presentation like this, right? This is what you expect from any creative team, right? I mean, you come in the morning and if you present it like these 100 ideas every morning, I mean, half your job is done, honestly, right? Here is what it has given me. I don't know if you can see.
Maybe you could make it full screen.
Yeah, I'll make it full screen. Absolutely mind blowing, but they're not very far by the way, right? So third, it's an idea saying, okay, Friday night cheat meal costs so much and creates 4 days of guilt. Whereas you get take rupees 70 and you can get 47 gram of protein, do the math. Now this is an AI idea, right? It says, your supplement stack, 8 bottles, 12,000 rupees, your flavor stacks, 10 packs, 700 rupees, right? Protein shouldn't be punishment. Now, what I love about these creatives is, in any creative, what is important that your visual hierarchy needs to be clear. What is the message? In what order is the user reading it? Is the contrast sufficient or not, right? All of that has been taken care of. Now, all of these ideas may not be winners, but my hope is that it just gives me some that really work for me, right? So boring cheap skill. Now, this creative will stop you in your tracks when you're scrolling. So it has figured what works. This creative I absolutely loved. In fact, we'll start running this in some time. So it said, your fridge right now, 4 containers of chicken you are avoiding eating. And it's the same old chicken. And puts a killer packet over, puts a chicken over here. Never waste protein again. So it's also got a sense of humor like me. So I think that also is something that we have fed in it, that, we want a sense of humor. We want you to look at meme formats. We want you to think as much as possible, right? Because, and by the way, this is not something random, right? Because one of our genuine use cases of our product is that we offer a variety. And that is what people enjoy about our product, that, there are 10 flavors and the diet doesn't get boring. It stays exciting. So this is not some random idea that it's giving me. It's giving me this idea because I have winner creatives in past wherein variety has won as an angle. So it's picked on that and done this. And I'll show you that creative also that has worked for me.
And Hitesh, just to clarify to the audience, each of these creatives have incorporated lessons from all the winner creatives you fed.
Yeah, no, I'll show you. Correct. So it has taken, clearly, it is taking a lot of elements from there. Now, for some reason, it's taking orange as the primary color, maybe because that's my brand color and that's why it stuck to it. But look at the creative, oh man, this is mind blowing, honestly, right? See, look at the level of design it has done, right? You take rest days for recovery, your taste buds never get what? Put this calendar and, put some names. It's got the names wrong slightly. But now, look at this though. This is a creative it created, right? Bro, try Papi Pudamya. I am not even sponsored. I'm just telling you. So it's actually created a chat sort of a thing. It's put a gym in the background for context. That what is the message about? I mean, this is absolutely, like, for me, this is absolutely mind blowing, right? Now, my goal is and my hope is that, I switch this on at night. I sleep. I wake up in the morning and I have a deck of about 100, 500 ideas, right? A lot of this thinking takes a lot of mental bandwidth amongst teams, right? And these are still early days, right? So we are very early in this journey. I am sure it will get to a point wherein, it will just upload this to Meta, try it out for a small budget, come back with feedback, revise and go forth, right? But today is the time to start doing these experiments. Because if you start today, then probably in the time when everything is automated, we will be in the right place. So this is what we've done on the marketing side of things.
And Hitesh, to summarize, I think it'll help to put things in perspective by saying end to end, right? What you accomplished with Claude, how much time, effort it took versus what it would have taken had it been completely a human exercise.
Yeah. So for example, something like this, right? I'll give you an example, right? I have a creative team of about 4-5 people. It's a small team. And we gave them 1 day to ideate. They came back with 20 ideas next day. Then we spent some 3-4 hours on those ideas collectively as a group. And then finally we selected some 4 ideas out of it, right? I can already see selecting 3 items out of this deck without any of us having to move a finger. See, what AI is good at, AI is good at following rules. What AI is not good at, which is also something that is needed in marketing, which is slightly lateral thinking. See, it can take direct ideas and give you direct creatives, which is something that you need. What it can't do today is it can't do indirect things like the so creative things. Right now it can't do, but I think what it's doing is also something which is much needed. So I'll show you this, right? So for example, it's given me this idea, right? ये जो एक वाला आपका same flavor है. And ये क्या है क्योंकि somewhere in the creative bank I would have put a winner like this. Yeah. Right? See, I've shown it that this is a winner creative for me. A new flavor every day. So it knows that my variety as an angle works and it's decoded itself. I have not told this. And it's giving me creative basis app. So this is the creative use case we have in place right now. And all of
Right. It's on what you said. So that's almost like productivity.
I don't know what X this works out to. I spent about a day on this and I am fairly confident now if I just let it run, it will take care of my good 60-70% performance statics. Thinking part of it, right? I may still want to go back to my team and say, listen, can we design this better? But I am assuming that's just a matter of time, right?
This is just the first version.
Yeah, this is just the first version and there are a lot of things to be fixed, but it's giving me outputs. So fair. So this was basically one thing that I wanted to show you. If there are the performance people on the call, I would urge आप लोग उसको use करो. I'll show you some other quick things that we are doing. Let me show this thing to you right now. This data is not real, but we are doing this. This is something, in fact, I think quite a few people from Real are also on the call. And this is an idea that I got from Agush a few days back when I was chatting with him. Agush was showing me these dashboards that are doing in Rebel. Now, something like this would have required me to get a, Power BI person. That Power BI person would have worked on these charts, would have made mistakes, we would have corrected. Now, something like this can be built in just maybe 5-6 hours and can be continuously improved, right? So this is something that, let's say, Navya built in our team. She leads QuickCom. So she's created this whole dashboard for QuickCom and I'll show you the complexity of it, right? Now, we are on 3 com channels like most companies on this group will be. Each channel, we need to download about 3 reports every day. There is a stock on hand report, there is a sales report, and there is a marketing report. These 3 reports have a lot of data that we use for day-to-day decision making. A marketing report has, let's say, multiple campaigns on it also, right? So keyword-based campaigns, city-based campaigns, and we need to track. There's a lot of data. Like just for the sake of it, these are the number of sheets that you can see. I mean, this is an unending scroll of sheets. If you see over here, bottom of the screen, these are the amount of data. Now, all of this was happening manually so far. But now the system that we've created is, again, this is done by Claude Cowork by typing it into, I'm just saying this is like your, if you ever thought that there would be somewhere you could just type your wishes and they came true, this is the box. Start typing. So there are about 10 reports that we based here. These all reports have different formats. Some don't have dates, some whatever, these are all different formats. It takes all of those 10 reports instantly, breaks them down into all of these sheets and populates this dashboard for. Now I can very clearly see, अच्छा मेरा अभी तक का revenue Blinkit पे. What does this where am I, what was I last month, what am I right now, what is this growth looking like right now channel wise, where is my logistics cost overall. एकदम से very quickly gives me like a overview of my entire business in a very understandable, easy to process manner. And this I feel like for anyone who's leading business, I can probably second me on this is anyone who's leading a business function, if you have data with you and if you have easily interpretable data with you, your decision making in any case improves, right? So this is one use case that we've done. This is something that
No, absolutely. Any data analysis use case can be automated. Data analysis, just transfer of information from different APIs, etc.
Yeah. Now, this is another use case which Go has worked upon. We heads Amazon for us, performance for us, but this is something that he has done for the ops team. I genuinely feel that we are not very far away from a point where you will not need a very large operations team to run a daily business. We are not very far from that point. I think that is something that we will reach in 6 months to 8 months from now. We can significantly control resource spending there. I think that's a real possibility. Now, just to give you this content, and just trying to show you this to tell you that, listen, anything is possible by the way. You just need to think, do some structured thinking, keep asking questions, keep trying to find ways to not do work. Like if it says, Acha, listen, get me this file, listen, I can't get this file, you get it yourself. It'll figure out a way to get it. So today morning I was watching a YouTube video where I saw someone else had made a creative engine Now, I didn't want to spend my time thinking how he did it because this person threw a lot of jargon. So what I did was I took the transcript of the video, gave it to Claude, and said, listen, figure this out. This guy has done something well. Can you help me replicate it? Right? So it is that, I mean, you can just imagine ways to save work from this, right? So let me show you this, right? So we work with multiple logistics companies to deliver our orders. And the journey of an order, as you all know, will be that वो order फिर या तो वो कोरियर एंड पे डिले हो जाए, अगर डिले नहीं हुआ, उसकी किस्मत अच्छी थी तो वो कस्टमर तक जाता है. नाउ कस्टमर तक जाता है, सो देयर विल बी एन एनडीआर प्रोसेस दैट हैपेंस कि यार customer is saying listen nobody called nahi, courier is saying listen we called you, and then if all of that sort of we are able to get through, then the final process, if the order gets delivered, great, well and good, otherwise it comes back and returned. So that's the entire journey. Now in this whole journey there's a lot of manual work involved. We have these 4 different shipping partners, so we've created this for one of our shipping partners right now. We have these 4 shipping partners. Each shipping partner has their own reports. Those reports have half data they don't have. For example, that report will give me, listen, this is the order number, this is the current status of the order. But it will not tell you who the customer is. That report is something that's probably available on the Unicommerce, right? Now, for example, what have we done for this? In what also, just sort of to give context, the earlier sheet that I showed, dashboarding sheet, earlier it was taking me about an hour every day. And this is an expensive 1 hour every day, which has been brought down to about 1 minute. And 1 minute also I'm saying because it takes the time for it to load and all. Similarly, this process, the team was spending about an hour earlier, and now this brought down to absolutely nothing now. The team comes in the morning, downloads a report from our shipping partner, downloads a report from our Unicommerce, uploads it in a folder. Thereafter, they don't have to do anything. First thing happens, it creates these sheets on its own. Okay, these are delayed orders. These, are delayed because of the courier. These are in NDR, which means there is some service issue that's happening. There are these returns that are happening right now. The team comes now, presses this button called generate message. This is a magic button. You press this button and it tells you from the courier partner where all the delay is. So it's basically telling me right now that Bangalore ke andar, there are these 8 orders that came on 24th that haven't been shipped by the courier company. Delhi mein, there is this one order from 24th and one order from 25th that has not been shipped by the courier company. Now the team comes in, they don't have to find these orders. It comes in, it copies this message like this and sends it to the courier company saying, listen, start working on this, right? They don't have to find anything anymore. It's already there in front of them. The message is also crafted. This is part 1. Part 2 is, now there are some customers because iski wajah se inka orders are getting delayed, right? You press a few buttons over here. Let's say you say like, whatever, you press a button, their names and numbers come here. Now, the only thing the team needs to do is say send WhatsApp message. We have integrated, we use Quick Chat as our communication engine. We have integrated this with Quick Chat. You press send WhatsApp message. These customers get a message, listen, hey, sorry, your order is delayed. We are trying to work to get it to you soonest. Earlier, what we would do, we would have to first hunt for these orders, make a CSV in this format, upload it on GoQuick or Quick Chat, make sure that they are not making any mistakes while doing this entire process, and trigger messages from there. Now, what we have to do, we have to press 2 buttons. And we have done all of this, by the way, again, reiterating, we are not tech people. For a lot of large companies over here, which are large tech teams, I am sure most use cases like these are solved and these are not rocket science and they must be wondering, what I'm trying to tell you is there are possibilities are humongous, right? In your own roles, whether you have a tech team or you don't have a tech team, you today have the ability to solve a lot of problems at your own level. You don't have to be... See, my biggest challenge usually has been in life here, if I am unable to do something, I'm unable to achieve something, and unfortunately it is dependent on someone else. I feel really like suffocated. I want to do this, it's not happening because of someone else's lack of time, ability to do so, right? Now that as a reason is gone. I cannot say, listen, I don't have a tech team or I don't have tech people and I can't do this. Now, honestly, it's there in front of us, right? So this is something that we did. One last piece. The team is also very excited that, we were showing all of this today. So I want to make sure that I hope it's not got too boring so far. But this is like so we are a production company. We have this entire, raw material inwarding process. We have this, we need to ensure reverse traceability. कुछ production कर रहे हैं, उसमें कौन से batch का raw material जा रहा है. We need to do constant audits every month. हमारे sheet में अगर लिखा है कि 5 किलो सामान पड़ा है, तो actually वो पड़ा है या नहीं पड़ा है. Now, earlier this was an entire, in most big warehouses, this will be an automated process already. But we could build that automation without going to a SaaS company in about 4 hours. Now, this is a hosted service. So our factory manager, the guy who manages our factory, right? I'm trying to tell you these roles because you need to realize that it's not that, there is a certain skill set that's needed for this. The only thing that's needed is some amount of logic, structured thinking, And I think, where you all do mistake is we start thinking that it will take away my time if I do this. My core is I have so much work to do, I have so many things to do. And we start getting into this mindset that, yeah, I don't have time for this. But what I've realized is you need to make that time and it will save you a lot more time. So it's an investment technically that you're doing. And I am seeing in my org, at least it's a very small org, almost everyone is doing it. So that's like really good for us. So this is something that a factory person has made. And he's even further away from tech, like as much as I am, but he made this in 6 hours and I was super impressed with it. So you can basically just like, there's all entries, right? You do 2 entries, it'll print a QR code for the ingredient. You scan those QR codes. He's made a mobile app out of this now. So this is a mobile app which, while production is happening, one can just scan these QR codes and know which ingredient is going where. He's made this, a dashboard where one can just go back in time and see which ingredient was used where. So this is what he's built. Saves a lot of time. I think more that time, what I'm realizing is, see, time is one part. What it does save for a lot of us in our roles is mental agony. It's not about that 1 hour that you spend doing that job. It's about those, that 1 hour otherwise that you spend worrying about that job that you need to do it today. And, the fact that it's repetitive in nature, the fact that you will end up doing some or the other mistake while doing that job, the fact that someone else will come and bajao you because yaar ye galti kar diya aapne. So that mental agony is also gone. So time saving bhi hai or mental agony bhi bach raha hai. So I think net it's a great win with how I'm seeing it so far. Obviously, a lot of these things are work in progress. They'll keep improving. But yeah, this has so far been our experience with AI. Our goals are very clear. Eliminate all manual work. That is the goal that we set out for ourselves. I don't know how much of it we'll achieve, but I'm quite sure we'll achieve most of it in about 3 to 4 weeks from now. So yeah, Hareen, I hope.
No, super, Hitesh. That was brilliant. And, I hope everyone got a sense of what is possible. And I just want to reiterate, I don't think, I can't emphasize the fact that you don't have to have a tech background for this. And many of you have reached out asking where to start. My suggestion is just be small. Think of the most procedural workflow for yourself or in your team and just tell Claude that. You just have to articulate it in simple English and guide you on how to go about it. And as Hitesh said, if you're stuck in the journey, just ask Claude for how to navigate those hurdles and it'll give you the solution. You really don't have to go to any human. You just have to get used to the fact that, this is a super intelligent agent and it can help you run it through. And all you need is just common sense and articulation and a passion to get things done. So, I'm hoping that all of you will start off on your journey to convert everything procedural to AI-led automated work streams. And as Hitesh said, you don't need as many people as you used to solve those, procedural tasks. I think you should just encourage your teams to be AI first and start solving bigger, more complex problems. So with that, I know we've overshot time. Let me just get to questions. We had a few. I think the first one was on source code of the dashboards. We'll figure how to share it and we'll share it. But I think as Hitesh said, you can just take the transcript of this session and feed it to Claude and I'm sure it'll give you a much more improvised version. There's another question on what do you do for video creatives, Hitesh? Do you want to take that?
So, video also is very interesting. I have tried working on it. Now, again, these are also learning that I've figured over the last few weeks. Ki video mein, the challenge that I am facing right now is so I gave Claude a video. I said, listen, this is a video. Now you need to tell me how many edits can I make out of it and how many different angles can I make out of it. So it said, fine, let me first extract the audio of this video because it can't listen. So how it is working right now is visuals ke liye wo kya kar raha hai? It is taking screenshots. So let's say agar it's trying to book a ticket on my behalf, it will go take a screenshot of the website, then decide where to click. So it's a slightly slow process. Videos, it can't listen. So what it does is it extracts the audio, it transcribes that audio itself. And so it'll keep telling you, Acha, listen, you need this tool for transcribing. Should I get it? You say, yes, get it. Then it'll get it itself. So I did that part with it. But what I realized was that it's not very good with Hindi, at least right now. So it said that, there is this, I also took a subscription for that. There is some OpenAI, remember this? There's this OpenAI transcribing software. But again, it was not getting Hindi right. But one of my teammates actually tried. But the English video, that's very good. So it can figure out your video. It can understand context. It can take frames and say, yo, this person was smiling here. You look good in a brown jacket here. So it was giving me all of that, but I wasn't able to get to edits. But I think you should try. I also will try to send you a link later on the group, which I saw this YouTube video today morning, and I asked my team to figure it out. There's an agent called Hygiene, I think. Hygiene or something. And it's like a bunch of agents which think of it like a production company. It has a script writer, it has a DOP in it, it's an editor in it. You just tell it, but listen, I want this kind of an ad, and it's apparently making videos. I haven't tried it yet, but that's next on my agenda. Asian, sorry, not Asian.
No, there is a lot of useful content, and the best part is just the pace of change. That's the exciting part. And as we said, this is just the first version of Claude Cowork, and it does so much. So one can only imagine how it'll be as things improve. I'm just saying there are a few business questions that I'm just skipping through. I'm just focusing on AI related. Which paid version will you suggest? Also, can you share the AI forum for app creation, or Claude will only do it? Generally, it'll ask to go to GitHub for deployment.
Nothing of this sort. So I think
Yeah.
I am the max plan.
Yeah, it's the same that I use. I think Max works absolutely fine. And I'm not on Mac, I'm on Android, and it works.
Opus 4.6 is the model that you end up using for all your work. And there is a max plan. I don't know. It's for, I think.
No, it is Max. That's the one that I use as well, Hitesh. That works.
Say whether it's 10,000 or 20,000.
Yeah, it is a paid version. Max plan is, I think it's less than 10K, but you can look it up. It's absolutely worth it.
10,000 rupees, don't even think about it. Now, if like I just keep telling my team, like they were like, here. So they're sitting here only and they were like, will you, Hitesh, pay us for this? Sort of, chewing our might, use AI. The company got to pay for it. I said, of course I'm going to pay for it, because today you go and try to get an intern in the market, and the intern costs more, and it gives you a lot more pain also. So this is better than an intern cost. So yeah, we are using the max plan. I'm using Claude Cowork, and then you just need to type in it. And I don't know what this GitHub and all, but sometimes it makes me go to my terminal and paste commands there. Honestly, I have given up on privacy issues completely. It asks something, I do it. I also, for fun, I had created this, WhatsApp agent sometime back. So I have this team where I keep telling people to do stuff, and they keep telling me they'll do it, but I don't know whether it gets done or not. So I create an agent that's listening to my WhatsApp and sending me DM saying, listen, either this is pending and you want to maybe follow up. So, I mean, there's a lot of trial and error. Things can go wrong also. But I think that should be okay. It should be open.
Yeah, and I see a question on debugging. Don't get scared by those terminal windows. As I said, if you have an error, just take a screenshot, put it on Claude, and ask it how to solve it, and it'll tell you.
Actually, that's what I have. The error that comes, I'll copy it and I'll paste it. I said, listen, figure. You don't have to do anything. You just have to give it information. Nothing you have to do.
Yeah. So
Probably put in a couple of points here, right? About the GitHub and stuff, right? So given that I've coded some of the apps, like you saw about the Meta Copilot per se, the way to think about this is that Claude Cowork can go to your browser, figure out the accounts on GitHub, account on Superbase or Vercel, etc. So you don't have to worry about this. On the approval side of things for Claude Code, right? Just be careful of the prompt injection or other security issues. Use it wisely, I would say. So when you're just starting out, right? Don't do it completely autonomously, say for 12 hours a day or something. Probably start it a bit slow and then go ahead with it, because there are a lot of security issues that you see on the internet about Claude Code or OpenFlow, etc.
no, I think as long as you're not giving it access to your credit card details, you're okay, right? To put it simply.
I have a contrarian point of view that folks can hack your machine because of the prompt injection, but it's not very.
Yeah, so far I've not had that issue, but yeah, useful. Thanks for that. But so far, as long as for me, I've not had to. But yeah, that's a watch out. I'll take the last question. I know, because Umit has this habit of creating tasks and sleeping and waking up in the morning and it's done. So he probably is getting some sleepless nightmares around.
I think just interjecting over here. So I think folks from Mosaic are also here, and I was speaking to Raven, and Raven was telling me a very interesting use case. I think he was telling me about his CTO who has a machine at his house, has Telegram on his phone, and that machine is always on, and he is instructing that machine through Telegram all the day, and that machine is doing the work. So I think people have figured, but I think these are higher level use cases. But I think, and Claude Code is also not something I would generally recommend if you're starting out to co-work, but just start typing, and I think you should be all good.
Yeah. Moir has a good answer. That's true. Claude can solve your security issues as well. But yeah, let's take the next few questions. So Janil, very valid question. So Janil's question is, each of the LLMs are catching up with each other. Should you be committed to one or stay on top of everything? I think the good news is, at least, Tej Urmit should add, what I do is I just follow all the founders of the big LLMs and just of people operating at the cutting edge and see who, general commentary around the latest models and what is working. And then I just start eating it. But the fun fact is the learning curve is only flattening with every new product. So you shouldn't really worry about being committed to one versus the other. So it's just been that much easier trying out the newer versions, right? So I don't think it's going to be a big challenge. So just, I would suggest, follow the guys operating at the cutting edge on Twitter. Just be on top of it and just try out the latest model that they say does the job. And the learning curve is super flat. There's no excuse to just get good at it. I think, yeah, the last one is just thanking us for the session. So I think we've covered everything. Thank you again for doing this, and thank you everyone for joining. And apologies again for the initial technical glitch. So we're going to generate a lot more use cases. As I said, one use case every fortnight is our KRA. So hoping to deep dive into newer ones in the future.